Everyone, welcome to the show. So you guys may have already heard the great news that the fraud lawsuit brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James has been decided in the state's favor against Donald Trump and his sons and his organization. I have some new details to share with you that just came out today. Here's the deal for those who haven't heard, or if you want a refresher. The Attorney General had asked the judge for a summary judgment, which means you don't even need to go to trial. You're just going to give us a judgment in our favor, or in this case, in favor of the state, because the case is so strong. Well, he partially agreed on the most crucial element in that case. On Tuesday, in the afternoon, Judge Arthur Engoron had ruled that Trump and his eldest son, so Don Jr. and Eric, did in fact commit, quote, persistent and repeated fraud. The judge agreed that based on the evidence presented, the Trumps knowingly and purposely overstated the value of their assets to try to secure financing and favorable insurance rates and so forth. In addition, the judge declared that the Trump organization will lose or should lose its business license in New York. And this was in part because after he appointed a court monitor to oversee the company's business practices, the defendants continued to lie. The judge wrote in his order, quote, "This ongoing flouting of this court's prior order, combined with the persistent nature of the false statements of financial condition, year after year, have demonstrated the necessity of canceling the certificates." So the organization and its subsidiaries are now going to be temporarily held under the control of a court-appointed officer. And the judge has given them 10 days to dissolve the corporation. Trump's attorneys were in court this morning. They were trying to gain clarification about all of this. The attorney named Christopher Keiss, which might sound familiar because he's working on another case for Trump, he asked the judge, quote, "Certain of the entities own physical assets like 40 Wall Street and Trump Tower. Are those assets now going to be sold or managed under direction of the monitor?" So the judge declined to make a decision on that. And he said that an independent party will be assigned, and then that person will ferret out all of the details. The reason this is like freaking them out is because some of the properties that Trump and his kids own, that they live in, like their actual homes, are owned by the corporation. The title is held by the corporation, by Trump, the Trump Corporation or Trump Organization, and in the LLC. So they're like, oh my God, like, am I going to lose my house? It's like, it's one thing to lose the business, but then am I going to be out in the street too? I'm going to have to go find another place to live. So Judge Engoron explained that both the investigators and the Trump family would be given time to locate and agree upon whoever this official will be who's going to make all of these decisions. Now, on top of all of this monumental decision, the judge imposed sanctions against Trump's attorneys. Judge Engoron's ruling stated, quote, "Unfortunately, sanctions are the only way to impress upon defendants' attorneys the consequences of engaging in repetitive, frivolous motion practice after this court affirmed by the appellate division expressly warned them against doing so." So the judge was pissed because he kept telling them, these are ridiculous arguments. What you keep submitting to the court is just wasting time. I mean, they've dragged this out for several years now. And the judge was clearly getting upset with them, clearly losing patience. And basically, they would just take what they had already submitted, go back and rework it a little bit, like change a few things, and then resubmit the same arguments. So the judge was just done. He's just done with all of them. Unfortunately, he ordered each of them to pay only $7,500. Now, for any of us, that would be a big deal. for, these wealthy attorneys, that's a drop in the bucket. So Trump has now lost on the number one allegation in the attorney general's case against him. So the bench trial will still begin next week. It's still set to begin on October 2nd, because the judge still has to rule on 6 other claims that the attorney general brought. He also has to determine what the Trump organization and what Trump himself and the others might owe in damages. And in court this morning, the prosecutor said, we still want to present our case, our full case, because we want to prove that each of these defendants took illegal actions, because they want the judge to determine if each of these defendants should be held financially liable individually. And so that they can't just hide behind the corporation. They can't just say, oh, well, the Trump corporation owes this money, but I personally don't owe anything. So that will be up to the judge as well to decide, like, does Donald Trump Jr., does Eric Trump Jr. have to pony up for a certain amount, millions of dollars? The AG, as you guys will recall, was asking or is asking for $250 million in penalties. And they obviously also want to ban Trump and his kids and the organization from conducting business in the state of New York. So obviously, if this ruling holds, they won't be able to do business in New York any longer. But we'll have to see if the judge orders the financial penalties as well. And he could order that they're not allowed to serve as executives in any corporation in the future. Now, I'm sure there's ways around that. They can put stuff in Melania's name and Ivanka's name because she was able to get out of this at the last minute. And especially down in Margaritaville, one of the most corrupt states in the entire country. Still, this is huge. And Trump took the news exactly as you would expect. He flipped out on his failing social media site. He called the New York Attorney General biased and corrupt. And then he bitched about the judge valuing Mar-a-Lago at only $18 million. Eric Trump also melted down. He went on Twitter and he continued to pull these property valuations out of his ass. The thing that led to this ruling in the first place. According to Eric Trump, Mar-a-Lago is worth over $1 billion. Yeah. So anyway, we should and can expect to see many, many rounds of appeals. I'm quite certain of that. What I'm curious to see is how this all unfolds, right? Is the company allowed to continue operations while the appeals process is playing out? I would imagine yes. But they're probably going to keep that court-appointed guardian in place to make sure they're not, skirting any other laws in the meantime. We'll see. I will definitely keep you all posted on this. So 2023 is a great year. I never mentioned this to you guys before because I didn't want you to think I was a freak, but 23 has always been my lucky number. I'm just saying. All right. I'll let you know when I hear more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.